Welcome to Dos Mocos News Edition. I am Nick, your host for the news segment for Dos Mocos Podcast. Stay tuned for more of what is happening in the world today. We have plenty to share with you guys, and I hope that you guys find it very entertaining and interesting stuff. So stay tuned. And by the looks of things, it looks like that SAG-AFTRA could strike too. Here in the final hours of today, July 11th, we are closer and closer to possibly another double strike. Hollywood has not faced a double strike since 1960. Um, and by midnight tonight, SAG-AFTRA will have a decision, and we'll find out tomorrow, Thursday, July 12th, whether or not that they will or will not be on strike in unison with the Writers Guild. More to come on that on Dos Mocos News. Later on Dos Mocos News, we will also be talking about when the sun will kill us all. Scientists believe that they have figured out an actual end date to when the sun is actually going to finally be totally burnt out and what will happen to life after it is done. More on Dos Mocos News, Dos Mocos Podcast. And for more on entertainment news with Dos Mocos News through Dos Mocos Podcast, fans are ranting and raving about the images that have been swirling all over the internet about Wolverine's new costume in Deadpool 3. I personally am excited for this, but we'll have more on that later with Dos Mocos News from Dos Mocos Podcast. I am Nick, and here is your show. Hi, everybody. Nick here with Dos Mocos News from Dos Mocos Podcast. Here we are going to bring you some of the latest news and news topics in the world that is happening today, um, or in the last week or so, and present time. First off, we'd like to thank you guys for supporting us and watching our first ever podcast. Our first episode was released yesterday. So go and click on that after watching this video. So with the writer's strike, it is definitely affecting a lot of people in the industry, and will soon be affecting the consumers and what they are able to watch. At least, at least here in America. I know some places globally as well. But according to Deadline, as an exclusive, updated with AMPTP statement, regardless of whether SAG-AFTRA goes on strike this week, the studios have no intention of sitting down with the Writers Guild for several more months. I think, in quotes, it says, we are in I think we are in for a long strike, and they're going to let it bleed out, said one industry veteran intimate with the POV of CEOs. Um, with that, it has been claimed that it might go until August, later this month, September. Now I'm hearing October, which will hit a lot of us that are in the film industry very hard. And it's not good. It's bleeding a lot of us dry and creating a lot of hardship for a lot of different people. So this strike, we are all hoping and praying that it just ends very soon. But with the scribes strike now finishing its 71st day and the actors union just 30 hours from a possible labor action of its own, the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers are planning to dig in hard this fall before even entertaining the idea of more talks with the WGA. I've learned, quote, not Halloween precisely, but late October for sure is the intention, unquote, says a top tier producer close to the Carol Lambardini run AMPTP. So again, these are coming from Deadline uh, news articles, and it's I'm just reading basically what it's saying and feeding off of it. But it sounds like that it's going to be a long time. And that is going to hurt the bottom of the line people, the crew, the caterers, casting agents, background actors, art department, grip and lighting. There's a lot of people that are going to be hurting very, very, very badly. And it's we're losing a lot of jobs, a lot of income to different states. I know a lot of people think, "Oh yeah, Atlanta and LA, they're banging all over the place. They got they're gonna be fine." Well, that's not true. And, as an Ohioan, I can see the impact there. As an Atlantean, I see the impact here. I see the impact everywhere. I'm friends with a lot of different people throughout the industry, and it's hurting a lot of us, including myself. And on a related note, from Deadline again, what happens to Hollywood and beyond if the actors go on strike? Receiving positive feedback from Wall Street since the WGA went on strike May 2nd, Warner Bros., Discovery, Apple, Netflix, Amazon, Disney, Paramount, and others have become determined to break the WGA. As one studio exec blatantly put it, to do so, the studios and the AMPTP believe that by October, most writers will be running out of money after 5 months on the picket line and no work. The end game, end quote, is to allow things to drag on until union members start losing their apartments and losing their houses, unquote. A studio executive told Deadline. Acknowledging the cold as ice approach, several other sources reiterated, sorry, other sources reiterated the statement. One insider called it a cruel but necessary evil. And with that, that sucks. That is harsh for these people. To me, in my retrospect, it seems like that these producers are so greedy with what they have to offer on their side of the table that they are willing to dismantle people's livelihoods, and that is terrible. That is horrible, and that is pure evil, and we can't stand for that. I support the Writers Guild. I support SAG-AFTRA. I support all unions. Being in the industry myself, and the way things are with how fast AI is approaching, and it's not just about AI, it's about like the residuals from streaming. Streaming, I knew this was going to happen years ago when streaming first became a thing. I knew it was going to ruin the entertainment industry. And I was right. It's starting to ruin the entertainment industry. And once this strike is over, the entertainment industry, as we all know it, is never going to be the same. Never. It was never going to be the same. The way that things are made, the way that things are produced, the way things are written, casted, what have you, is it's going to change. And for the most part, it will be successful to the studios at first until they start seeing a major influx of people actually unsubscribing. I know a lot of people are unsubscribing from Netflix right now, and a lot of people reverting back to watching the classic movies, the movies that had actual good writing uh, for them, and that is going. It's not gonna break this new mold, but it's gonna put a hurting on a lot of these companies and producers, and I'm actually starting to see the effects of it now. And with companies like YouTube, they're going to get a lot more views and influx of customers coming in to watch shows that are produced on YouTube. That's just something that I see is happening. Social media is taking over. the entertainment in some retrospects as well. But for them to say a cruel but necessary evil to make people lose their jobs, their houses, their way of life, their income, that to me, it that that is the scum of the earth to me, in my opinion. And I know a few writers that have written movies and they're still struggling. People think, oh yeah, writers get all this and that and all this money for writing a script. It may have been true years and years and years and years ago, but now with the oversaturation of new projects and new writers and AI now into the incoming to these projects and writing for other people, they're not getting paid that much. They're if anything at all. There's a lot of writers out there that you know they might write one thing and it's great, but they only get paid that one time, and that one time is not going to last the rest of their lives. Any residuals. This is an actual craft. Think about it. Okay, there are a lot of writers out there too who have book deals, book signings, and different things like that. Not every author is as successful as J.R.R. Tolkien or Stephen King or whoever. They might have a one-time book that sells a lot of money, and that's it. Good for them. But when it comes to me specifically, we'll put this out there. So, yes, I can make a lot of money working on movies and TV shows and commercials. And people don't understand the retrospect that yes, I may make a lot of money doing that, but it's spread out through the whole year. See, I start off making this much money, and then there's a point, a gap, have you, to where I'm not making anything. So I take that amount that I make from one movie or one TV show, and I have to spread that amount of money over the course of so many months. And when you're in the industry and you're in a part of town to where you're oversaturated with crew members, but not enough films or TV shows or commercials to have an even playing field via crew members. You have to fight and fight and fight and fight and fight for that. And in this industry, you there's a lot of sharks in the water for sure. But you have to stretch out what you made over a long period of time instead of getting paid every day, daily, um, monthly, yearly, like a normal job. And that is part of the price that we pay for choosing to do um, this industry, to be a part of this industry. Um, but enough about me being on a soapbox. That just kind of reading that just kind of blew my gasket a little bit. But anyways, back to this article. It says the studios and streamers next think financially strapped writers would go to a WGA leadership and demand they restart talks before what could be a very cold Christmas. In the next, in that context, the studios and streamers feel they would be in a position to dictate most of the terms of any possible deal. Um, Another note related was SAG-AFTRA preparing picket signs as possible strike looms, according to Deadline. The severe method comes out of the Guild's successful battle with the agencies in 2021 over dismantling the lucrative practice of packaging. The WGA picked off an agency after another until I'm reading that right. Okay. The WGA picked off one agency after another until final holdout WME backed down, a tactic seen as a warning sign by many in the studio and streamer C-suits. Uh, Convinced that giving in, as another insider put it, the riders will result in every contract cycle from the WGA, IATI, the Teamsters, and more ending in a strike. The AMPTP is aiming for the bottom line. Publicly, the AMPTP are refuting the so-called October surprise. And in quotes, these anonymous people are not speaking on behalf of the AMPTP or member companies who are committed to reaching a deal and getting our industry back to work. End, end quotes. A spokesperson for the organization had said. So it seems like overall this strike will be looming over our heads up until the end of October, maybe even more. It might go to the end of this year. We don't know. It's up in the air. The AMPTP is not budging. The Writers Guild is not budging. IATI and Teamsters, SAG-AFTRA, it looks like everybody's just butting heads to try and get what is fair for everyone. And I support that. I support that wholeheartedly. But here's to the riders getting what they deserve, everybody getting what they deserve in this industry. And I hope what was brought in this segment and was read about in this segment um, brings more attention and light to the issue for those who don't understand what is actually happening. And there are a lot of good videos on YouTube that can explain it more and a lot better than I could. But just remember, this is the second time ever since 1960 that we could be facing a double strike with the SAG-AFTRA and Writers Guild. And that will be devastating to a lot of people, a lot of creators, and you, the consumers. You're going to be seeing a lot more reality TV shows. That is for sure, and a lot of really really crappy shows that is just written by AI. I am not doubting that AI can be prompted to write and be ghost written for some decently good shows, but you have to remember that is taking away the jobs. Remember how pissed off everybody was about um, either pissed off or excited about the self-scanning registers at like grocery stores and Walmarts and other chains. And now there's it's still a middle ground. People prefer them because of, COVID. You don't have to interact with other people. But then there's the other people that have issues with them. And so far, from what I've noticed being an avid shopper in like Walmarts and Kroger's, is that it's preferred now to be in, again, from what I have experienced, it is preferred to be about 60-40% prefer to be in an actual line where they deal with a person. And some people will say, oh, that's you old heads, you older people. I'm like, no, not really. Because, again, in my own personal experience, I have experienced a lot of issues with the machines. The machines are taking over. Anyways, that's enough for this segment. Let's move on to the sun. The sun is exploding. And we all know this. We have always known this. But now scientists predict an actual end date. Scientists believe they have determined when sun will explode, killing all life on Earth. let's dive into this now. So, if you ever, if you have ever caught yourself wondering how much longer the sun is going to keep shining, as in literally how long it will continue to support life, as in, all the plants, the animals, us as humans, life on planet Earth as we know it, then here's some news for you. Uh, as we all have learned in our lives, all good things must come to an end, which is unfortunate. But yes, even the sun, unfortunately, will come to an end. I mean, it's already technically ending because it's a burning star. It's exploding. Neil deGrasse Tyson can tell you more about that. I am not a scientist. I'll never claim to be a scientist either. But yes, even the sun will end. It will collapse our solar system. We will all die. The Earth will freeze over. What have you. But it is for a very important reason that scientists thought it might be important to keep an eye on the center of the universe and see if they can determine exactly when the sun will explode, not knowing, when it will happen. Will it happen in the near or very distant future? Will there be any way to allow us to stop it or survive? We don't know. But, after all, the sun, which has a mass of what I'm seeing here now, 330,000 times that of Earth, converts 4 million tons of matter into energy every single second. That's pretty hard to replace. It's probably impossible to replace because, even if we had enough nukes to do it, the time that it would take to make it happen, I don't know. Again, I'm not a scientist. I'm not with NASA. I'm not with, you know, Elon Musk. But if you guys have anything to weigh in, you guys can chime in. But, it's not like a battery that we can just swap out or carry with us on a day to day business. Um, if it should stop working, we just replace it. It's not anything like that. The sun is life. Between sun and water, well, I mean, everything that is in our solar system, it contributes the most to life. After the sun has burnt out, though, most of the hydrogen in its core, um, it will transition to its next phase as a red giant. At this point, roughly 5 billion years in the future, the sun will stop generating heat via nuclear fusion. And its core will become unstable and contract, according to NASA. Um, it'll contract. It'll shrink, according to NASA. Meanwhile, the outer part of the sun, uh, which will still contain hydrogen, will expand. So it's an expansion and a contrast, um, glowing red as it cools. This expansion will gradually swallow the sun's neighboring planets, Mercury and Venus, and ratchet up the sun's solar winds to the point that they squash Earth's magnetic field and strip off its atmosphere. So that to me sounds like we will die. Because, I mean, maybe we could survive on Mars a few 100,000 more years while this is killing Earth. We don't know, but 5 billion years in the future is definitely a long time. None of us here watching this podcast or news will be alive. Um, and unfortunately, it is something that we can worry about, should worry about, but should we really worry about it? Because if you think about it, uh, based on what was said earlier, there's nothing that you can really do about it. It is the sun, the only thing that heats up this planet, keeps it from freezing. Unless we can Star Wars it and kind of make a nuclear fusion reactor, Death Star type of thing and launch it out into space, that would probably take, 100,000 years to make. I don't know. Again, I'm not a scientist, but I just found this interesting. And I figure you guys might too. But with all that, of course, this will almost certainly be bad news for whatever life remains on our planet by that point, assuming any has survived the 10% increase in the sun's brightness that is expected to vaporize Earth's ocean in 1 billion to 1.5 billion years. And that is according to a 2014 study, what I'm reading here, in Geophysical Research Letters. You can find them on the internet there. And within a few million years of this initial expansion, it is likely that the sun will also consume the rocky remains of Earth, according to a 2008 study published in the monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society. So the sun is very important, and without it, again, we are going to die as a species. The whole world will no longer exist, it sounds like. Luckily, though, after decades of painstaking research, scientists believe that won't be happening anytime soon. In quotes, the sun is a little less than 5 billion years old. Um, Astrophysicist Paola Testa told Live Science, uh, and quote again, it's a kind of middle age star in the sense that its life is going to be of the order of 10 billion years or so. So, what this person is saying is that the sun will last for about 10 billion years. Testa also explained how they came into this number, again in quotes. A lot of the science is relatively new, like in the last century, because an integral part of understanding how a star works comes from understanding nuclear reactions and fusion. Again, like I was talking about the nuclear stuff, even if we launched all our nukes to the sun, or to create a new sun, I don't think we have enough to even create something nearly as close to what we need to survive on Earth. But that, said Testa. Uh, Again, before the 1930s, one of the main ideas of how stars worked was that energy was coming just from gravitational energy. He continued, by putting together lots of different information, lots of different stars, astronomers and astrophysicists could build a model for how stars evolved. This gives us a rather precise guess of how old the sun is. And Live Science, it says down here, Live Science adds that the sun's age is corroborated by radioactive dating of the oldest known meteorites at around 4.6 billion to 4.7 billion years. The Post scientists believe they have determined when the sun will explode, killing all life on Earth, appeared first on Bro Bible. So with that, I personally am not worried about the sun destroying Earth because I will be gone, unfortunately. I would have to say everyone watching this currently will be gone, and life as we know it will be destroyed. Um, as much as I want Earth to last forever, to to me, I think it's back to what we were talking about earlier. All good things come to an end. Earth is coming to an end, not only by us, but by our own solar system. Um, Could we survive on Mars even if we don't have a sun? I don't think so. Would the effects and radiation and heat from the sun still take its time to reach Mars and prolong life? Is that how that would work? And I don't know. That these are all great questions that I think actual scientists could answer. Like again, Neil deGrasse Tyson, if he wouldn't chime in, that'd be amazing. But I think we have a lot to look forward to in the years to come. Currently, and we shouldn't let this bog down our thoughts or our feelings about the Earth, and we should just enjoy the moment. Now on to our next segment. We have, as fans, seen new pictures of Deadpool 3 with images that reveal the first look at Hugh Jackman's return as Wolverine in the sort of classic yellow and blue uh, costume. He's finally back after years of refusing to wear the Wolverine suit again. Hugh Jackman is ready to play the famous mutant once again, thanks to Ryan Reynolds for Deadpool 3. The Merc with a Mouth is getting ready for his debut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it seems that his presentation will be a great epic event. Last year, Reynolds himself, along with his friend Jackman, published a video announcing that Wade Wilson and Logan would come together for a new adventure, officially opening the door to the world of X-Men within the MCU. After projects like Ms. Marvel and Black Panther, Wakanda Forever gave the first indications uh, of the arrival of mutants in the franchise. I think it's pretty cool that they're finally presenting him with the yellow and black suit. I haven't seen pictures of him with a mask. I hope that there is a mask in play again. It would be super cool. I love a lot of the cosplays and the Bat in the Sun productions where they present Wolverine versus Predator, which is a cool video. Check it out. Um, but a lot of fans have been ranting and raving over this costume ever since the first X-Men movie. You know, we never got it until until 2024 in May when it's supposed to be released. Deadpool 3, and it's not even an X-Men film. It's Deadpool. It's Deadpool the movie, the third one. It took three movies and you know almost 24 years for him to finally get this yellow and blue suit that we've all been wanting. But with the film already in production after having moved up its release to May 24th through discussing film, a new image has surfaced online from the set that shows the two heroes together, and here they are here. As you can see, here's multiple photos of on-set Wolverine and Deadpool sharing a scene in the new iconic yellow and blue suit. And I don't know what the scene is. It's probably some fight scene. Looks like they're walking through, you know, barren wasteland. But it's super cool, and Ryan Reynolds made it happen for us. So thank you, Ryan, for uh, being such an awesome part of the Marvel universe and presenting to us with a great Deadpool franchise. The first Deadpool was great. The second one was great. This third one has got to be just as good. Um, but is Deadpool 3 the perfect moment for Wolverine to return? Despite the fact that Logan presented a perfect outcome for, you know, Jackman's legendary Jackman character, leaving him as a hero who sacrificed himself until the end. Deadpool 3 is the ideal project for the actor to dress up as a famous mutant again. I loved Logan. I thought Logan was a great representation of Wolverine. For those who don't know, it was loosely based off the graphic novel Old Man Logan, which was phenomenal. Phenomenal. I loved it. And I wish that there would have been a Hulk family for him to destroy, just like in there, and blind Hawkeye and Hawkeye's daughter. It would have been great just to see a movie depicted exactly how that graphic novel was written and illustrated. But again, with bringing back Wolverine and Deadpool 3, on one hand, it has already been confirmed that the film will not affect the plot of James Mangold's film, um, since the versions of Wolverine that will appear in Deadpool 3 will not be from that universe. In other words, Sean Levy's movie will play with the idea of um, a type of multiverse to cross Wade Wilson's path with different characters and alternate versions of those of the MCU, such as Daredevil and Elektra, played by Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner, who are reportedly part of the movie. Spoiler alert there, haha. But most importantly, Hugh Jackman has become the great emblem of the X-Men cinema. So introducing them to the MCU without him seemed a hard road to take. The appearance of that iconic Wolverine is a perfect way to turn the page, introduce a new generation, and follow a new group of mutants to that big screen. And with all that, I think it's great that he has his yellow and blue suit. It's gonna look awesome. Either way, I'm going to see it. And here's a little sneak peek, first look of how Wolverine will look in Deadpool 3. Here we go. But that there, and with these pictures, is the news on Wolverine and a little bit of some extra tidbits for the new movie that's coming out. I hope that you guys have enjoyed that. This is your little news segment from Dos Mocos. I am Nick with Dos Mocos Podcast, and stay tuned for more to come from Dos Mocos Podcast and our family here at Dos Mocos. Enjoy this video. Enjoy the next video to come. More podcast episodes are coming in the near future. We would like to start doing them regularly, but for now, you get news segments, other segments from me, uh, one of the hosts from Dos Mocos Podcast, and live now, or you can watch now the first episode of Dos Mocos Podcast. So click on that and enjoy. Thanks for watching.